Funky first, funky, funky first, funky first, funky first, funky, funky first, funky first, funky first, funky, funky first, funky first.
The enemy's public.
Funky first, funky first, funky first.
Let's go, let's go, let's go, let's go, let's go, let's go, let's go. The enemy's public.
Because we have been deceived. We have been told we are in a democracy where everybody is equal. The truth and the reality is that we are in a system of racism, white supremacy.
Avoid racial shadowboxing. When victims of racism, non-white people, that's who we are directly or indirectly assigned, bribed, coerced, or otherwise influenced by the white supremacists to speak and or act to do harm to other victims, such speech or action can be described as, quote, racial shadowboxing.
The American people don't know what's going on in this country. The country is going to hell. It ain't black people sending it there. We are the victims of what is going on.
Where there is no vision, the people perish. But he that keepeth the law, happy is he.
Read the Tavistock Institute. Every lecture I show this book. These are written by white boys long before us. This was going on. They came to America as operatives coming among us. Remember back in the day, this book talks about the nefarious niggerization of hip-hop, the first millennium edition of the American Directory of Certified Uncle Toms. It talked about how these young white boys started establishing all these record companies, these subsidiaries, because their parents owned the majors. They got distribution, so they could sign the brothers to these subsidiary labels. Are you following me? They were the ones that said that they were gonna make you calling yourself a nigga very popular.
Peace. This is the enemy's public. I am Bro.Nasir. Hope everyone is enjoying this beautiful Sunday evening. This evening, I want to speak about the cycle, the hypocrisy of the U.S., the lawmakers, the executive officers. Because the United States, the government, the legislators, the lawmakers, the Senate, the Congress, emphasis on the con, are self-righteous hypocrites. Everyone in the executive offices of governments are hypocrites. Prosecutors on all levels are hypocrites. They'll put RICO charges on who they say are involved in organized crime, when they are all the biggest organized crime syndicate in the world, in particular this country, the United States of America. I see people on very low levels, crimes in comparison to what the aforementioned does. They're dragged in the media, in the court, and sent to prison for a very long time for crimes that prosecutors' constituents do. Prosecutors will stand before the people telling us how hard they're going to be on criminals and crime, when they're going to target the people, the taxpayers, the ones they claim to serve, when they only serve themselves and their constituents. We, the people, we get served on a platter, becoming a commodity. We pay them with our tax dollars to not serve us, while they don't act in our best interest. In fact, the United States government acts on behalf of other nations, while people here in the United States are suffering under oppression of the government. We suffer. Homelessness is not a humanitarian crisis or issue according to this government. I want to repeat that. Homelessness is not a humanitarian issue according to this government. Homelessness is a nuisance that criminalizes the most vulnerable and most unfortunate of the people in our society. Trump and his administration, they're making homelessness a crime. They're making being poor a crime, while they are greedy. Anyone putting their faith in a politician, they're playing a game that they will never win. It's not rigged. It works according to how it was designed against the people. We have sheep herders, and we have wolves in the wilderness of North America, devouring its prey. That prey is us. And then we have the butcher. They don't want prayer in school, yet they have prayers in school, preying on our children with miseducation, indoctrination, and socialization of the worst sort. The money changers, the bloodsuckers of the poor, present themselves to us as public servants. Some of us actually believe that they are public servants and attempt to hold them to that, yet they are not here to serve us. They never displayed with action that they serve us. Most so-called public servants are authoritarians, wanting compliance and obedience, saying that they're restoring peace when peace has never been established, i.e., Israel bombing Palestine, committing crimes against humanity. They want compliance. They want all of it. It started off, with a conflict, but Netanyahu wants it all. I guess there'll be peace there when they kill all the Palestinians and the entire region is controlled by Netanyahu. Yet, of course, the United States has its interests Seeing human suffering at that magnitude without inaction makes any sensible person ask, why is this allowed to continue? And the answer to that question is interest, corporate interest, special interest. Meaning that they get paid to support and shut up. Again, this is organized crime, where there are no honor among none of these thieves. There's no morality in politics. There's no morality in politicians. What we see before us are a bunch of games being played at our expense. Those who tell us that we should put our trust in a politician, vote a certain way, are either ignorant or a part of its constituency. The U.S. is the land of the thieves and home of the slaves. Without law and order, there is chaos. Yet when we're subjected to a slave code of laws, we all are slaves. Someone pulling you over in your vehicle, asking you where you are going, asking for your credentials, impeding your travels, then will kidnap you if you're uncooperative, making you a slave. If you don't capitulate to their unlawful orders, they will try you in a court for things that lawmakers themselves do. Some of the most nefarious crimes are done by those who hold positions in the executive offices. Now, police officers are pawns in the game, but they are willing participants in their own demise. When they attach the word gate to an act, when they attach the word gate to an act, it's synonymous to a cover-up, to gatekeep. From Watergate to Bill Gates, because that's what he does. He gates. He covered things up, cover up what he and the government are doing. We the people are learning the hard way. It's obvious, it's the way we want it. We're learning that the government is a criminal enterprise who will unalive anyone with the fortitude to expose the criminal activity. All the way to the president. If the president of the United States doesn't get with the program, or if he attempts to buck the system, he's a goner too. I know that some of us think that Donald Trump is draining the swamp, and that what we see comes from his mind. Some of it does, but very little. Donald Trump is also a puppet. I'm sorry to tell you, Trumpeteers, that Trump is a puppet also. He's a clueless puppet who's controlled by a clueless puppeteer. All of this stuff trickles down. Now, violence has increased dramatically during police encounters. It's gotten worse. It's always been bad, don't get it twisted, but it's getting worse. This authoritarian behavior is eventually going to cause an uprising in the people. How much do they think we can take? And a better question is, how much do they think that we will take? Because violence should never be the result of a traffic stop. We do not have professionals in none of the so-called public service positions. Donald Trump said that if he's elected, he will indemnify the police. When he said they'd be allowed to do their jobs properly, what does that mean? What does it mean when he said that they will be allowed to do their jobs properly? where he sent federal troops into a city where crime is down to supersede the authority of local police. What does that mean? They superseding the chain of command, they're superseding the power of the local police, the police that's assigned to do the job in that city. What does that mean? We said they're going to be allowed to do their jobs properly. Greetings to my sister Sharon Walker. Thanks for tapping in. Greetings to all who are tapping in. I appreciate it. Especially the location in these various cities. This also undermines the authority of the mayors of these cities, the chiefs of police, police directors, and the governors of various states. Because how can the president decide if he's going to send in troops to someone's city? He shouldn't be able to decide that, because to bring the National Guard to a state is supposed to be at the discretion of the governor of that state, not the president. This undermines their authority and their discretion. I'm not into politics, but the Democrats are weak and ineffective. They are pushovers in all offices. Now, if I was a mayor or governor of a state, no one will undermine my authority as a governor. No one will send troops into my state to undermine my worthless police officers. They are worthless. But if I'm trying to establish a relationship with the police and the people in my state, no one's going to come through and undermine that. No one will send ICE into my communities that I swore to serve and protect and violate the rights of the people in the community that I am governing over. See, they need to get some fortitude, because not even the president will be allowed to do that. Because I was elected in my, if I'm just speaking, if I was the governor or if I was the mayor, no one will be running around in my city without checking in with me and my police department. See, this is being disrespectful and superseding the chain of command and overreaching with his authority. And the crazy part is some of our people rock with this foolishness. Why? Because we see things being done to other people and it's not being done to us. But all we have to do is wait and live. I can see it, that he's going to get to us. He's going to get to us. And people's going to be surprised. Those who rock with Mr. Trump is going to see that he cares about no one. Thinking because these Hispanics or these immigrants are being targeted right now, it's first things first. Because if they're out of here, that's decreasing the rank and file, if you ask me. Because they see now, I see several videos where they know they made a mistake by delineating against the so-called black people here in the wilderness of North America. They see that mistake. But I don't think that would be the case now. But all they're doing is they're going to cause an uprise in the people with how the people are being treated. I see federal troops and police going up to people's porch and questioning them. You can't question a man sitting on his porch drinking a beer or smoking marijuana. You can't go up to him and question him, especially in a state where marijuana is legal. He can tell you to mind your damn business and move on. That's his house. But Donald Trump is giving them the green light to be unlawful because he's unlawful. I don't understand how some of our people can get with this unlawfulness and this lawlessness. I can't understand that. Where the man says that he wants to deport, it wouldn't be deport to American citizens. It would be import. That's what that would be. Sending people to prison in El Salvador. And we all know that if we don't think that we're going to be targeted, if we don't think that we're going to be targeted in this foolishness, something is wrong with our thinking. Salute, peace to my good brother Shank Rock. Salute to you, brother. Thanks for tapping in. I don't put nothing past a politician. Nothing. I don't trust any politicians. I would be saying this if it was a weak ass Democrat. They are so damn weak. They are such pushovers. The tactics that the Republican Party do to establish and maintain power, Democrats don't have the fortitude to do. They don't. Again, to me, when it comes to politics, Republicans and Democrats, my sentiment is it depends on where you want to be stabbed. Democrats are sneaky, they'll stab you in the back. At least the Republicans is coming straight at you. They tell you how they feel about you. You can at least see it coming and defend yourself with the Republicans. But I don't trust neither one. Stab is stab. Stab in the back or stab in the chest. It's both the same to me. And you have a left wing and a right wing, and there are two wings of the same unclean and hateful, nasty ass bird, predatory bird that preys on the people. It's hypocrisy when you set up laws that you yourself don't intend to adhere to. You cannot be a law and order president being lawless and breaking every law and wiping your ass with the Constitution. How are you a law and order president wiping your ass with the Constitution? Undermining the process that put so-called public servants in office. It was wrong for ICE to come to any city to violate the rights of people at work, at the dentist, children at school. I could never rock with that. I could never rock with that. Now, criminals, I agree with getting criminals off the street. If they're violent criminals, I agree with getting them off the streets. But when you snatching somebody up based on their last name and the color of their skin, That's criminal. And what's crazy about that is I see immigrants snatching up other immigrants as immigration officers. I see Hispanics, Latinos snatching up other Hispanic Latinos, cuffing them and taking them to these detention centers. I see Asians of different ethnicities doing the same thing, snatching them up. And they handle them violently. People who are not even violent or resisting. And certain people love doing this. They love it because they can assert some power on people. And I'm going to say this also. A lot of these ICE so-called agents are not even police officers. They're not even law enforcement. And I don't even think they have training. They're putting anyone who's willing to go out and do it. They're deputizing them and allowing them to act as an agent. They're having sign-on bonuses. Anyone who's willing to do the job, they will send you out there with no training, violating the rights of people. I say again, I ask this question again. How long do they think that people are going to take it? They're not going to take it much longer. They're not. Federal troops are a occupying force in Washington, D.C. And everywhere they send these federal troops are cities of the other party. I don't play politics, but that's what Donald Trump is doing. All the cities that he's sending these troops into are Democratic cities, and most of them are ran by one of us, deeming us weak and ineffective, incompetent. That's what he's doing. He's sending these federal troops into cities that's governed by our people. Cities that crime is being suppressed. Crime is going down in some of these cities because of the jobs of what some of these police officers are doing. But Donald Trump is a shit stirrer. That's what he likes doing. He's one of them. He's like Caruso. He's just like Caruso on Everybody Hates Chris. This really a coward. Anybody who fight him, he will cower. And he's a just outright bigot. He's a bigot. He's beyond racist. He's a bigot. He's a racist and a bigot who look down on people. And anyone with fortitude, with any type of intelligence or use their brain, that intimidates him. He don't like anyone who use their brain. And he will get you far away from him just for using your own mind. He want people he can control. Any president, any politician, Democrat or Republican, that wants to control all the agencies, that's tyranny. People don't recognize tyranny when they see it. That's tyranny when you want to control the federal agencies. And you want to put people in position so you can control them. If you can't control them, you fire them. That shouldn't even be up to the president. That's tyranny when you want to control the FBI, the CIA, the Department of Justice. The president wants to control the Department of Justice. You know what this does? It prevents them from investigating his corruption, his criminal activity. That's what this does. It prevents them from doing that. That's tyranny. I know we're about 20 plus years from 9/11, road to tyranny. We're 20 plus years away from that documentary. Peace to my brother Straight Smoke. I tried to send you the link, brother. I guess I copied down your link incorrectly. But I did try to send you the link because I did want you to come through, brother. Straight Smoke. When you have a coward, when you have a chump and he gets any type of power, for instance, if you take a chump and he becomes a police officer, that dude is going to be a nuisance. He's going to be a nuisance. When you are supposed to be a public servant and you go and you use federal agencies, police departments to go arrest your political opponents, that's tyranny. That's behaving like a child. All Congress and the Senate has to do, all they have to do to control what this man do is veto everything he says, because it has to go through them anyway. All he has to do is veto it. When he try to implement something stupid, veto it. Their positions are elected. He can't fire them. He can't fire a senator. He can't fire a congressman because their positions are elected. That's why I can't understand how these governors and how these mayors allow the president to overreach his authority into their states and into their cities. As a mayor or governor, nobody, including the president, wouldn't be able to do that. Now, if I ran a city or a government, no. If I was a governor of a state, no. I decide if the damn National Guard come to my state, not the president. You worry about these goddamn borders and worry about how safe the people are going to be. Abroad and on these borders. The hypocrisy is astonishing. It is. It's astonishing. A convicted felon, get to determine what criminality is. Peace to my brother Big Dog Philly OG. Salute to you. A convicted felon of 34 counts get to decide. A convicted felon get to decide what criminality is. I'm not into politics, but I know hypocrisy when I see it. Not into it. I've never voted. And I've been of the voting age over 40 years, but I never voted for nobody. I voted for one person, the mayor of my city. I know him personally. It's the only person I ever voted for. And I think that's the only person I'll ever vote for. It's him. Other than that, I don't see nobody else I will vote for besides this brother in the city that I live in. Other than that, I'll never put my confidence in a politician. People put their confidence in a politician, a bloodsucker of the poor. That's what politicians are. Poly is many and a tick is a damn bloodsucker. Many bloodsuckers. I would never put my trust in them. And it's a game because Republicans and politicians, a lot of them agree. They're bipartisan when it comes to one thing. They may argue in front of us, but they are bipartisan when it comes to one thing. And that's our position. They're bipartisan when it comes to that because there's no difference between Biden and Donald Trump. No different whatsoever. One's just older than the other. That's the only difference between them two. They both are bigots. They both are damn racist. Both of them. I would never put my faith in a damn politician. Never. Politicians are bloodsuckers. I can't stand them. And we should never put our faith in them. You want to come through Straight Smoke? You're welcome to come up, brother. There's a link. Now, we're speaking about the psycho's cycle because they're psychos. Most of them are psychos. I'm going to share my screen. Matter of fact, let me turn this off first. Share my screen. And we're going to start with a psycho over in the Middle Eastern region. Benjamin Netanyahu, the threat to the planet. That man's a threat to the entire planet.
We have breaking news out of
A threat to the peace of this entire planet. Benjamin Netanyahu.
the Middle East, where Israel just began the first stages of its assault on Gaza City. Israel says the takeover of the city is intended to prevent Hamas from planning future attacks, but it is expected to displace thousands of Palestinians, pushing them further south, where the hunger crisis is growing. Joining us now, NBC News international correspondent Danielle Hamamjian. Danielle, the plans for this were met with fierce pushback, not just internationally, but also on the streets of Israel.
That is occupation. That's displacement. You want the people to evacuate. Millions of people got to leave because they're going to drop bombs. Can you imagine someone telling, okay, New York City, the Bronx, Brooklyn, Manhattan, Queens, Staten Island, the 5 boroughs, you all have to evacuate New York because we're about to drop bombs on New York. That's crazy. That's insane. That's evil.
Israel from Israelis.
There is a lot of support in Israel for a deal, for a ceasefire deal. They want the prime minister to strike a deal. In fact, we've been waiting for Benjamin Netanyahu's response.
Going to strike a deal. What kind of deal would that be where people have to leave their homes? And if they don't leave their homes, they risk dying in the rubble because they're going to drop bombs. That's no kind of deal. And not only that, if it's a deal like that, somebody's being robbed because there's no fair exchange. Want to take over the entire Gaza Strip. Don't want to share or coexist. That's evil. That is evil.
To the ceasefire proposal that Hamas has agreed to. It agreed to on Monday, and so we wait for his decision. The people in Gaza were hoping for a truce, but now they're also facing possible evacuation orders. Now, the Israeli forces say they have a hold on the outskirts of Gaza City. There are about 800,000 people there, and yes, it means that many of them will now face the possibility of having to go south. Now, the IDF says we will intensify, in order to minimize harm to civilians, the IDF will warn the population and allow them to evacuate from maneuver areas for their protection. Katie, you know this. The word evacuation for Palestinians is code word for displacement, without the ability to return home. And many of them will tell you that this is not about stopping Hamas from regrouping, but this is the beginning of the full occupation, they believe, of Gaza, and what will ultimately become the displacement of the entire population, they fear. And it certainly is what far-right ministers in Benjamin Netanyahu's government is pushing for. Emmanuel Macron, the French president, posted about this not long ago. He said he spoke with his Egyptian and Jordanian counterparts and said, the military offensive can only lead to disaster for both peoples and risks plunging the entire region into a cycle of permanent war. Katie.
Danielle Hamamjan. Danielle, thank you very much.
Salute my brother Straight Smoke. How you doing, brother?
What's going on? How you feeling today, dog? Good to hear from you.
Move on from here. I'm speaking about the cycle. It's going to be on all levels because a lot of these people are psychos, and it's not just the executive offices.
We have breaking news out of the Middle East, where Israel just began the first stages of its assault on Gaza City. Israel says the takeover of the city.
Not just the executive offices. It goes up all the way up to the president.
For investigation.
But it starts on a lower level. Law enforcement, they are psychos all for. Also because we have 15 people in Tennessee arrested by state troopers for crimes that they didn't commit, which is crazy. Straight Smoke, peace, brother. How you doing? Do a mic check.
Oh, man. Mic check. Can you hear me?
I can hear you, brother. What's the word, brother?
Okay. Oh, man, I just had a beautiful day out. Just got back in from smoking out for the public, and I seen that you went live, and I'm tuning in and tapping in, brother. Salute.
Yes, sir. Salute to you, brother. Did you want to tap in on what I spoke about so far?
Well, I do want to say this to you, okay? I think that to be totally honest, we have to understand that what you're witnessing and have been witnessing for over the last, I want to say at least 30 years plus. This is the uniparty. It's not Republican or Democrat. This is the same bird.
Yes, I said that earlier. Yes, sir.
Okay.
Republicrats.
So you can call them whatever you want. I call them the uniparty. That's why nothing gets done.
Exactly.
Because if you notice, they will support anything for I'm not gonna say no certain countries, but you know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
But when it comes down to anything else, oh, they bickering back, they go back and forth with the banter. But when it comes down to certain things, oh, they gun ho.
Yeah. You're right.
So
You're right.
I just tend to look at it for what it is, and I call a spade a spade.
Indeed.
You got it.
I agree, brother. Call a spade, and you know what? And they're both spades.
Well,
Reveals
you got to
the
understand.
stunning number.
Go ahead, my brother. I'm listening.
I was about to say you got to understand when you create the chessboard and the monopoly board, everybody else is just a average player.
Yeah, a pawn. Less
You're
than
just
that,
a pawn.
actually.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's it. I'm
Now
sorry.
we're
Go
going to
ahead. Get
go
back.
get into we're going to get into 15 Tennesseans arrested by state troopers for crimes they didn't commit. The people were arrested for DUIs and they were all sober. 15 people in one state, that's too much. And by state troopers.
Number of innocent people wrongfully arrested by THP.
Court records shows that troopers have arrested 15 people for DUI whose blood work later came back showing they were completely sober.
It's the latest findings in Chief Investigative Reporter Jeremy Finley's sobering problem investigations. And Jeremy, just to reiterate here, these are 15 people who were charged with a crime in which they were completely innocent.
Yeah, that's right, Lauren. And it's important to say these are only cases that we have discovered through attorney sources or the drivers themselves contacting us. The latest driver to tell his story is Carl Binkley, whose arrest, as you're about to see, left him in tears.
Trooper Thompson, I went patrol ready for the stop. Y'all over the road, man. You almost hit that semi.
Just 2 minutes and 24 seconds into being pulled over on July 17th of last year.
Anything drink tonight? What's that?
Carl Binkley explains the personal reason he's not drunk.
6 years clean and sober.
I got addicted to pain pills, but me wearing my recovery on my sleeve and to be proud of how far I've came, it's pretty bad.
It's why he did not hesitate when asked this question.
If I was asking you to perform standardized skills sobriety, you got any problem doing that? I don't.
I felt like I did pretty good on it. They disagreed.
You're paying place on your arrest on DUI. Are you kidding me? You want to talk to my sponsee that I just... Oh, no, man, listen to me, okay?
And this man don't even drink. And the cop said it's based on his experience and his training. So they're telling you to violate people's rights. This is in your training to violate people's rights. And based on your experience, a man with no alcohol in his system and pass a sobriety test. Not only that, sobriety tests are stupid. If it's not breathing into the breathalyzer, anything past breathing into that breathalyzer is humiliation and it's stupid. Because I guarantee you, most of them cops couldn't do that, what they ask people to do. They want people to stare into a damn flashlight and move their eyes and walk 1 foot in front of. Who the fuck walk like that? People walk 1 foot in front of the other, not with their feet crisscrossing. And that's stupid. That's humiliation and it's stupid. A sobriety test. And it's only done to jam people up.
Okay, it's based on my experience and my training. I'm telling you, man, I don't do drugs. I don't drink.
And his blood work would later confirm it. No alcohol, no drugs in his system.
I was upset from day one. When they put the handcuffs on me, I was upset.
This cop probably was on drugs because police use psychotropic drugs, most of them. And you have to be on something to have their mindsets. Have to be on something. I just hope they're not approaching some of these situations sober with their attitudes and their demeanors. See, I don't like the hypocrisy. This stream speaks about hypocrisy, and it's a lot of hypocrisy when it comes to these officers in these positions, because a police officer would respond to a domestic dispute between a husband and wife, boyfriend and girlfriend, whatever a domestic dispute. Being self-righteous, saying a man shouldn't hit a woman, and he shouldn't. So that should include the cop too. I see cops slam women down to the ground, put their knee on their back, punch women repeatedly in the face, and they beat their wives. If you check the statistics, police beat their wives more than anybody. Over 40% of police officers beat their wives. And I did a stream earlier. It must have went up, my brother.
62.7%. Yeah, that's
beat their wives, right? And that's worse than what I said, brother.
Yeah,
that's worse. That's worse than what I said.
62.7% of all police officers beat their wives.
Beat their wives. I showed earlier this year, brother, in Neptune, New Jersey, a sergeant killed his wife right in front of his rank and file. And he killed his wife right in front of their child. And they had him surrounded and they let him do it. This month in New Jersey, a state trooper killed his ex-girlfriend, her new boyfriend, and drove to a park and killed himself. And they hadn't been together in over a year. That's dangerous when somebody want to control everything and assert power on everybody they're in contact with. They can't turn it off, bro. They can't turn it off.
I really wish I'd known you was gonna do this, man, because I got so many clips of some things that I think that everybody needs to know. I'm talking about how to like if let's say you get pulled over for a traffic ticket, right? Traffic,
Indeed.
right?
Okay.
All you gotta do is crack your window.
Exactly.
Okay. Listen to me. Hear me out. Crack your window. They're gonna walk up to you and be like, lower your window. No, sir, I can hear you just fine. I'm serious. No, sir, I can hear you just fine.
Exactly.
Do you know why I pulled you over? I don't answer questions. See, that's what you have to understand something. What does the Miranda rights consist of? Anything that you use can be used against you in a court of law. So why are you answering these people's questions?
Why don't you invoke your Fifth Amendment rights in the first place? So you don't answer questions, and you don't. If you say you know why I pulled you over, don't answer this. I don't answer questions. He's supposed to tell you.
I don't answer questions. He's supposed to tell you. That's his job.
It's his job to tell you.
Goddamn job.
Exactly.
And before any conversation kicks off,
you don't have to give him your license either. You got to present it so you can put that shit against the window.
Put it against the window with your insurance if you want to, if you choose to. But if you are not being detained and you have done no criminality, there is no reason you should present your license or registration.
Exactly.
And that's coming from brother Nasir. That's coming from a man who hasn't had a driver's license in 30 years.
I hear you, brother. I hear you.
Now what?
Me, in all honesty, brother, when a cop asks you to present the credentials, I would just do it. I would just do it. The reason why I would just do it because because these jokers are on drugs and they're looking to kill you. And if they violate your rights, if they violate your motherfucking rights, you got them. Me, I have a dash cam. I suggest everybody get a dash cam. Or hit that record button as soon as before they get to your car, hit that record button. And if they violate your rights, you got to make them jam themselves up. You can ask questions, but don't answer none. Because
Bingo.
you could turn your Fifth Amendment rights on and off anytime you want. Anytime you want, you can ask questions, and when he asks you a question, you can say, "I don't answer questions. I'm just asking them. I'm asking the questions here." You can actually do that.
If I may say, Remember one thing. Your taxpayer dollars pay their salary. They are working for you.
Yes, they are. Yes, they are. But they don't seem to get that part though, bro. They don't seem to get that they are you know why? Because they're not trained that they're public servants in the academy. They're not trained that way. That's not the training they get. That you are a public servant. We are out here to serve the public. No, they have this authoritarian demeanor and they're trained. I showed earlier this year that a lot of cops from around the country came to New Jersey and they got this training, and this training was teaching them how to abuse the people. And guess who paid for that? We did. We did. We pay these people to not serve us. And that's wrong. To not serve us.
You want to hear something crazy?
I'm listening, my brother.
Did you know in the Transformers, did you know the movie Transformers, and even the kids' TV show, right? The Decepticon and one of the Decepticons in the Transformers was the police.
I never watched that. Last time I seen like Transformers, it was like a damn cartoon. I remember it vaguely, long time ago.
But I'm saying, go ahead, bro. I'm sorry.
Greetings to my sister Chrissy. Thanks for tapping in. Thanks for tapping in, sis. And I remember it vaguely. I remember, you know, when things get to TV, it change. You know what I'm saying? When they get to TV shows, cartoons, then when they transform it over to like movies and stuff, the whole thing changed. So I haven't watched it. I didn't watch it. Maybe I should, being that you're saying it, just to get the the information.
So the reason I brought that up is because the motto of the car was to harass and detain. It's on the side of the car.
In the movie, it says to detain,
harass and detain,
harass and detain. You know, they might as well put that on the side of the car. They might as well put it on the side of the
car.
That's what they do.
That's what they do. But they're deceptors of the law.
Indeed. Indeed.
That
and
was
they're
the point of
policy
me
enforcers.
saying that.
They're policy enforcers. They're not. That's what police is. Policy enforcer. Because if they put law enforcement, on their vehicles, and they shouldn't be put in public safety, because a person shouldn't cringe at the sight of a cop.
Shouldn't, but they do.
Cringe. But we do because we know what they on. Salute, peace to my Jersey brethren, Warfare K. Salute to you, my brother. People cringe when they see them because we know they be on some nonsense. Not all of them, because I know some brothers who detest what a lot of these cats be out here doing, and they ain't on it like that. But for the most part, people cringe when they see them. When you say, if you walking down the street and it's dark and you see a patrol car, you're supposed to be able to say, damn, I'm good. Cop just drove past. But that joker might jump out on you because they don't have absolutely nothing to do, especially when it's a coward who never had nobody listen to them. And their thing is compliance, acquiescence, capitulation, perceived power. They want somebody to listen to them. You ever see them, the First Amendment auditors, when they have to tell you to do something, you're not even doing what they say you shouldn't do. Well, if you go in there and do this, I told you I'm not going in there. They feel like they have to give you some type of order, even if it don't pertain to what the stop is. That's just their thing. I don't know, I don't know why they train them to be that way, but they're not trained to serve and protect. No, they're not. They're not.
upset.
So
I lost all my respect for THP that night.
Binkley is now the fifth.
You were saying something, brother?
Well, on what you just said previously, just a minute ago, right? All you have to do is ask, and I strongly want everybody to know this: is that a lawful order?
Exactly. See,
Because
the
they're
reason
banking
why I
on
say,
you not knowing the yoke.
the reason why I say ask them questions is to get them to admit that they know what the hell they're doing, so they can't go into the court acting like they didn't know. That's why I say ask questions, but don't answer none. Get them to jam themselves up, because they love talking and giving orders and saying things. So you ask them, is a lawful order, and you make them admit that they know what they're doing as far as violating your rights. And if they can't go into a court saying, well, I'm oblivious to this. And what's crazy about all that is, if they go into a courtroom and say they are oblivious to what their understanding of the law, they get qualified immunity. That's crazy. But if we go in, us, the taxpayers, if we go in and saying we didn't know, you know what a judge will tell us? Ignorance of the law is no excuse, but they won't say that to a cop. Ignorance of the law should be no excuse to the cop, not the taxpayer, because he's supposed to be the trained professional. He's the one who swore to uphold the law, not me. So why is ignorance of the law is no excuse to me? Always thought that was crazy.
15th Tennessean, according to court records, to be completely sober and arrested for DUI by a state trooper.
It's a problem. I've been watching the stories. It's a problem.
And our Sobering Problems investigations reveal it isn't just troopers arresting innocent people in one part of the state. Binkley was arrested in Coffee County, Stephanie Fair in Davidson County, Candace Slate, Wilson County, Labrisha Beatty, Giles County, Reed Hawley, Sevier County, Nate Collins, Marion County, Thomas Maness, Monroe County, Henry Esslinger, Haywood County. And these 7 people were arrested in Williamson County by the same trooper.
They certainly need to do a better job of training.
Attorney Eric Larson has represented 3 sober drivers arrested by a state trooper for DUI.
I think this is a product of a systematic failure from the top down.
You're putting a lot of trust in the people.
At the top of the THP is Colonel Matt Perry. For months, WSMV4 investigates.
It was crazy. You hear what they say? He's a colonel. This lets you know what they're on by what their ranks. Because a colonel is not supposed to even be in a police department. Colonel, that's military rank. That's a military rank. He's supposed to be sergeant, lieutenant, captain, chief. When you start going to major and all this other stuff, that's military rank and file. That means somebody's overreaching their authority in their ranks. And a lot of police departments do it.
Has been asking for an interview with Perry. Once again, the THP told us they had no one available to do an interview. We wrote back and said we pushed back our deadline to offer more time, but no one responded. So last week, WSMV4 Investigates came to a THP press conference, but after he was done speaking, Perry took no questions and immediately got into a car with a driver.
Colonel, this is Jeremy Finley with Channel 4.
And drove away. We were unable to ask him about drivers like Binkley.
I've had to start taking mental health meds, anxiety and depression meds.
And what happened when innocent drivers charged with DUI get that call from their attorneys telling them their blood work showed they were sober.
I literally pulled over on the side of the interstate and I cried.
Oh, God.
Now, I do want to add that the trooper who arrested Carl Binkley did find pills in a Ziploc bag in his car. But Binkley says those pills turned out to be prescription medication for heartburn.
Now I'm going to go to DeSantis, little Trump. This man has aspiration of being Donald Trump. He wants to be like Donald Trump so bad. And I have family in Florida. My grandparents are originally from Florida, but there's no way I will move to Florida as long as this man, it's like in any type of government, because here he wants to be this, he wants to be like Donald Trump so bad that anything Donald Trump does or anything Donald Trump suggests, he's like a bobblehead. He's a bobblehead. He's a Trump bobblehead. He's a trumpeter. Speaking about the
And we got news last night that we had a judge.
he's speaking about defying the orders of a judge. See, that's what I was talking about earlier. You can't be a law and order governor, mayor, or president if you are lawless. You can't. They talk about people obeying the law when they disobey laws themselves. That's for the most part, though.
Try to upset the apple cart with respect to our deportation and detainee processing center down in South Florida at Alligator Alcatraz. I just wanted to just say this was not something that was unexpected. This is a judge that was not going to give us a fair shake. This was preordained. Very much an activist judge that is trying to do policy from the bench. This is not going to deter us. We're going to continue working on the deportations, advancing that mission. We knew that this would be something that would likely happen, and we will respond accordingly. But this mission is important.
Is it me, or does everybody standing up there look like immigrants themselves? Everybody standing behind Ron DeSantis look like an immigrant to me. That's the ironic part. I see a lot of immigration enforcement officers that are immigrants snatching up other immigrants. That's crazy. But, you know, they're willing to do it.
You either have a country or you don't. You have people that are in this country that have already been ordered to be removed by the current system, and yet the previous administration didn't want to do anything about it. We're now in this position where we're leading the state efforts to help the Trump administration actually enforce the.
I can't stand when people play politics. The previous administration, Democrats blame the Republicans, Republicans blame the Democrats. When, you know, I go back to them being two wings of the same unclean and hateful bird. And you can't be on the same bird, which is the damn predatory eagle. You can't be on the same bird and fly in a different direction. You just can't.
The law and actually remove these illegal aliens from not just Florida, but from our country. And that's something that we didn't have for 4 years. And now that's something that we're absolutely on board with making sure happens going forward. And so we're not going to be deterred. We're totally in the right on this. But I would also note, because of the success of Alligator Alcatraz, there's demand for more. So I did announce that we are going to be opening another facility right outside of Jacksonville in Baker County, and we've called that the Deportation Depot. And so that is something that will be able to hold another 2,000. There's an airport close by, and so you have the processing and then the removal, and you can get that working very, very quickly. There is no truth to the rumor that the Northeast Florida Deportation Depot is going to be used to detain unruly Georgia fans during the Florida-Georgia. That's not true. Don't let anyone tell you that. I hear that percolating. That is not true. It is for illegal aliens, and that's what we're going to do. So we're committed to the mission. We're not going to be deterred. We see this happening all over the country. We knew the minute this judge got the case, we knew exactly what she was going to do. This is not anything that was unexpected, but we'll make sure to get the job done in the end.
I want to move on from this. I want to go to the next video. My brother Straight Smoke is in my neck of the woods, in my city, and
okay, Let's do it.
I'm going to speak about it. A 68-year-old woman, a elder, was shot by police August 8th in my city. She was killed. And it's a bad shooting. 4 police officers showed up at her apartment, knocking on her door. They said she had a knife. Mind you, this elder was like 5 feet tall, 125 pounds the most. And they said they tased her. They said they maced her. And an officer he fired 4 shots, killing her. And you're telling me 4 men. Let me tell you something. Me and one person can take a knife from somebody my age. I don't care who he is. Me and one person, and I could, if he got one swing of that knife, if he don't hit me, then he's done. He got one swing. If he don't hit me, then if he don't stab me, then he's done. But they shot. Well, this officer shot this sister, this elder, killing her. And I'm gonna move on from this because after this part right here is a bunch of nothing burgers and joking, and all he doing is trying to talk cocky, trying to be like Donald Trump, saying that the judge ruling will not deter them from building prisons and putting people in prisons surrounded by poisonous snakes and alligators. So I'm just gonna move on from this and get to what I was just telling you about the 68-year-old elder. And they making a joke, laughing like something's funny. I'm gonna run this back some. You know, I don't understand how. I don't understand how anything like this could happen. Now, the woman came out. They said they tased her, and they said that they maced her. I don't see this. All I see is when she came out, they fired shots, and I heard a taser afterwards. I'm going to run it back again. Now, 4 cops, men, what would make a man be this, incompetent and to the point that he falls? And it's a woman who's 5 feet tall, 125 pounds. You knock on her door, 8 o'clock in the morning. Anybody's going to come out that apartment irate. She's going to come out the apartment irate. And it's the second time they came to her house. They're knocking on her door. And the sister, the elder, according to the family, has mental illness issues. When in most senior buildings, I know in the city of New Brunswick, all the senior buildings have social workers and people to deal with this situation that they could have called. But people were at her house earlier. This is the second time they came. And this is a new shift. I can't understand. And I'm wondering, did they pass the Sentinel? in case you wonder what Pastor Sentinel is, that they briefed them on what occurred earlier and not send them to this situation blindly. It still doesn't negate to me that this is a very bad shooting and they should have never approached it this way. When you go into a senior building, this is what you find in a senior building. You find elders. You find disabled people, and you find people with mental illnesses of all ages. That's what you will find in a senior building. And they didn't approach this with they approached it with caution, not compassion. And the caution, mind you, they got a belt full of weapons, and I don't understand how anyone would use deadly force in this case. Pulling your gun out and shooting your gun, deadly force. I don't know, brother. What do you think?
You're in a senior citizen building, right?
Yeah, correct.
You can breathe on these people and they're gonna fall over.
And not only that, bro, there was no command to drop it or nothing. It's just as soon as she opened the door, busting shots.
But
I don't know.
You understand what I'm saying?
I understand exactly what you're saying, brother. Exactly what you're saying.
No. Because we gotta be totally honest here about the whole thing. I really don't care if the lady was trafficking. I really don't care. Don't even care. You mean to tell me them 4 people couldn't subdue that woman? That's what you're telling me?
I'm telling you, bro,
Okay.
me and you and I could take a knife from a man. I don't know how old you are, but your age, put it that way. Just me and you.
I've disarmed people before.
I've done it.
People before. Right. That's what I'm saying. It's not hard to do. That's why I'm sitting here just like, okay, this is very disheartening to see. But I think some heads need to be rolling off of that. For real.
Yeah. They, unalive this sister for no reason. This didn't have to happen. And, this happened quite a few times in the city of New Brunswick, brother. It's where I grew up at. You know what I'm saying? And no police officer all the way back from 91 and before then was ever held accountable for shootings. And one thing is in common. It's one mayor. One mayor. That's the one thing that's in common. That the mayor that's still here since 91, bro. And I don't think no one should be mayor that damn long. 34 years? Nah, it should be term limits. But that's what happened with the sister, brother. One more game. I'm not understanding the laughing, brother. That's the part I'm not understanding the laughing. When someone's life was taken. This is in the hands of the Attorney General. And this is in the hand of the Attorney General. And hopefully we'll be able to see the actual body cam footage, we'll have better. We'll see what happened better from the body cam footage if they show it in its entirety instead of redacting stuff. You know what they do. I don't have no trust in them. I don't put no trust in them. And this is the I believe the Sarah Wallace police. I mean that the news report from
New
CBS.
tonight, the family of a woman in New Jersey shot dead by New Brunswick police is demanding answers. They say that she struggled with mental illness and that the shooting could have been prevented. Naveen Dhaliwal has the story. And we do need to warn you, the video is disturbing.
Inside this building on Nielsen Street in New Brunswick is where 68-year-old Deborah Terrell lived. She was a mother and a great-grandmother.
Her house was always open to everyone. You know, she offered to babysit her great nieces and nephews.
Her family says she had long battled schizophrenia and say that's why the morning of August 8th makes no sense. Police got a call early that morning from neighbors about Terrell holding a knife, pacing in the hallway. Cell phone video shared by families shows officers responding, trying to engage with Terrell, who was in her apartment behind a locked door. Officials say Terrell exited her apartment with a knife. They say officers tried to subdue her with pepper spray and a...
That's not what we see. We don't see officers trying to subdue her with pepper spray and a taser. That's not what we see. A matter of a second, shots were fired.
A taser.
This dude could have shot somebody else. Could have shot a officer and everything with how reckless he was. Outright reckless.
Then you see an officer fall to the ground. Within seconds, a shot is fired and the bullet killed Terrell.
You know, they didn't give her an opportunity to respond to command.
They didn't even make a command. They didn't say, you don't hear nobody say, drop it. There was no command. It was shots as soon as the elder exited her apartment. No command.
We reached out to the New Brunswick Police Department and haven't heard back yet. The New Jersey Attorney General's office is investigating, but Terrell's family wants the answer to this one question.
What happened? And no one seems to be able to answer that question. We won't get an honest answer because they're evading accountability.
It could take the Attorney General's office weeks, even months, for them to release their findings. Meantime, the family says they will continue to push for accountability and changes in how police respond to people in crisis.
Now, I'm going to go back to CNN with Netanyahu to urge full conquest of the Gaza Strip. Now, Netanyahu wants the whole entire Gaza Strip. He don't want to, establish peace there. He don't want that. He wants to take it over. And even Donald Trump, he wants to turn it into damn Atlantic City or Las Vegas. Take people home from them and turn it into a damn resort area.
There's major news coming out of Israel tonight, where in a matter of hours, the Prime Minister, Benjamin Netanyahu, is expected to urge his security cabinet to back a full military takeover of the Gaza Strip. That's according to Israeli media reports that a source tells CNN are accurate. Senior officials close to the Prime Minister are quoted as saying the die is cast. We're going for full conquest. If Israel's military commander doesn't agree, he should resign. My source tonight served as the U.S. ambassador to...
Sounds like somebody familiar over here in the United States. If that person disagrees, you can't talk it out, or you can't listen to the man who actually does the fighting. That's the crazy part. Presidents, prime ministers want to act like they're the experts when it comes to military, when they're not. I don't know if Netanyahu was ever in the military, but I know Donald Trump's ass was never in the military. And it's a shame that people have to salute him when he walked off Air Force One a plane he should have never been able to fly in because he never came up through the rank and file. I don't think anybody should be able to command or send somebody to war who don't know nothing about it, who hasn't been to as much as basic training. But you can send somebody 9,000 miles away, or I don't care where you send them. You can send them into the inner city, something that you don't have the fortitude to do. But you feel you can send somebody to do a job that you are incapable of doing because you're incapable of doing the job that you're doing. And if people can't see that, they're not looking.
To Israel under President Obama. Dan Shapiro is here. And thank you, Ambassador. I wonder what you make of what this is going to look like if Netanyahu goes forward with this.
Well, Caitlin, I certainly hope these reports are not true. What is described in those reports is essentially Israel continuing the war into a full occupation of Gaza. This is really to achieve the goals of the most extreme members of Prime Minister Netanyahu's cabinet, which is to reoccupy and ultimately resettle Gaza, annex it to Israel, perhaps ethnically cleanse the Palestinian population. That's not what is needed right now. Maybe this is just a feint to try to get Hamas back into negotiations on the release of the hostages, but I certainly hope it's not true. If it is followed through, what it's going to mean is more dead hostages. We just saw 2 hostages that Hamas is sadistically starving and making dig their own graves in tunnels. And where there are 20 still alive, they're going to die. More Palestinian civilians are going to die. More Israeli soldiers are going to die. Israel, which is already experiencing significant isolation internationally, is going to see that deepen. No Arab states are going to come help with the day after in Gaza, which was what really needed. And President Trump can forget about his dreams of a Saudi-Israeli normalization deal or expanding the Abraham Accords. So I certainly hope these reports are not accurate.
Yeah, I mean, those images of the emaciated hostages are just, they're devastating to look at, and also to think of what this would mean for the Palestinians after so long that the war has been happening. And this reminded me of, obviously, just recently, a few months ago, when President Trump was talking about the United States taking over Gaza, basically, and being in charge of it. I asked him about that at a press conference. I want to remind everyone what he told me. Just to follow up on what you were saying about the Gazans leaving Gaza, going to other countries. One, where exactly are you suggesting that they should go? And 2, are you saying they should return after it's rebuilt? And if not, who do you envision living there?
I envision the world, people living there, the world's people.
Yeah, probably want to turn into another Epstein Island. That's what we probably want to do.
I think you'll make that into an international, unbelievable place. I think the potential in the Gaza Strip is unbelievable.
If Netanyahu does go through with this, what do you think the U.S.'s role could look like?
Well, I think President Trump bears a fair bit of responsibility for the situation we're in, with a war that seems to continue without end, a ceasefire that broke down.
This is a man that said Donald Trump is the man who said he would end the wars when the wars escalated and wars were added to the wars that's already existed. So I don't know. I guess he's trying to establish the war to win all wars. I don't know.
Down, a hunger crisis that took hold in Gaza, with people literally starving, hostages languishing without any hope of being freed. When he announced his vision of the United States taking over Gaza, sending all the Palestinians out and building luxury hotels on the beach, that was not a realistic vision. It was not even a serious vision, but it did embolden and empower the most extreme members of the Israeli cabinet who really do want to empty Gaza of its Palestinian population and take it over. So he also signed off on a terrible, sorry.
Well, you mentioned what the government wants. The Israeli media tonight is reporting the IDF is opposed to this, and what does happen if Israel's military leaders say we don't support what you're going to do here?
75% of the Israeli public in every poll says they want the war to end and get all the hostages home. A large number of very senior former Israeli security figures just announced today their call to end the war and get the hostages home. And we know the Israeli military leadership feels that the military is overstretched and that the costs and the military gain, the costs of doing this operation.
If they want that war to end, all they have to do is simply not give Israel any more money. That's it. No more weapons, no more money. The war is ended. Simple as that. But it's something about what's going on that people here in the executive offices must benefit from to keep this war going. Because war is not cheap. It's destructive and it's expensive.
Deep into Gaza are too high, and the military gains are too little, given how much Hamas has already been degraded. So when President Trump gives signals that he's open to it, when President Trump gives signals that he's open to suspending aid shipments as he did, when he doesn't use the leverage he had after he struck the Iranian nuclear facilities to say to Prime Minister Netanyahu, it's time to bring the war to an end, he bears some.
Donald Trump will only use leverage and use power on people here in the United States, his political opponents, his own constituents, and the people of the United States. That's the only thing he leveraged. When it comes to Israel, like everybody else who ever held that office, they don't use no type of power. They have no fortitude at all.
Responsibility.
They can be as rough on Netanyahu, the IDF, and Israel. If they could just have some type of fortitude and put their foot down with them, the war will end. Basically, instantaneously.
We need him and his envoy, Steve Witkoff, to actually get Hamas and Israel to the table for an end of conflict deal that brings all hostages home and gets aid surging into Gaza.
Former Ambassador Dan Shapiro. We'll see what happens, obviously, when Israel wakes up in a few hours. Thanks so much for joining tonight.
Thank you.
Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu is planning to push his security cabinet for a full military takeover of the Gaza Strip. That, according to reports in Israeli media. Now, a source tells CNN that decision is not yet final. But let's get straight to CNN political and global affairs analyst Barak Ravid. Barak, walk people through what's actually happening here. What's your sense of what's real and kind of what's still to be determined, if you will?
I think a lot of it is to be determined. I think Netanyahu is kind of stuck in a situation where the negotiation over the partial hostage deal went into a stalemate. It failed. And now the only way forward is to go back to some expanded military action in Gaza, because at the moment he's not interested in really cutting a deal that will end the war. But on the other hand, the IDF tells him that any expanded military operation in Gaza now will be in areas where the IDF hasn't operated yet. And the reason it hasn't operated there is because there are hostages in those areas. And the IDF stressed several times to the cabinet that such an operation in those areas would likely lead to those hostages getting hurt. This is why it is such a...
I wonder how many hostages there are, because I know how some of these people think. It could be they'll kill 1 million people to get 2 hostages because they think they're better than people. Netanyahu in particular, he thinks he's better than people. They think they're better than people, and 2 of their lives is worth more than 1 million people.
A hard decision. Netanyahu is at least trying to put out trial balloons that his direction is to go to this expanded military.
I don't understand why they can't have a ceasefire and a negotiation. Okay, we're going to give you the hostages and let's just end the war. That's too much like right. It's too much like right to just say, okay, we're going to cease fire. We're going to negotiate. Okay, give us the hostages and we'll stop. And we're going to end the war right here. That's too much like right to evil people. The government, not the people. It's always the government, not the people. That's the wicked ones. The governments are wicked, not the people. Get that straight.
Military operation, but as you said, as far as I know, a decision hasn't been made. The Security Cabinet will only convene on Thursday, and this is the body that has the legal authority to take such a decision.
Brooke, you've been doing a ton of great reporting on kind of where the hostage negotiations stand, where they've broken down, what the current goals are or are not, depending on who you talk to in this moment. Break that down for people. What's your sense of where they stand and kind of between the U.S., Israel, and Hamas at this point?
I want to end this right here. We'll land this right here. And I want to thank everyone for showing up, for coming through, hanging out with your brother for a little while. I want to thank my brother, Straight Smoke, for coming up and chopping it up with the brother. I want to thank Sharon Walker for coming through. My brother, my Jersey brethren, Warfare K, the true daughter of darkness, Chrissy, thanks for coming through, sis. Big Dog, Philly OG, thank you for coming through. My brother, Shank Rock, thank you all for coming through. Thank my wife. She always coming through. And if you haven't, get your copy of Fire. Get your copy of Fire. Fire 2. It should be coming real soon. Fire 2 will be coming very soon. Get your copy of Fire. If you haven't, go to Amazon, paperback or Kindle. Look under books, Angela King James. Get your copy of Fire. On paperback or Kindle, Fire 2. The finale is coming soon. But for now, if you want to be caught up on what's going on, you have to get your copy of Fire. Go to Amazon, go to books, Angela King James. Get your copy of Fire on paperback or Kindle. Here's the promotion.
Get your copy of Fire. It's definitely a must-read. If you enjoy hood books, this one is it. Just like the title of the book, it's officially Fire. Get it on Amazon, paperback or Kindle.
Until next time, this is The Enemy's Public. I am Bro.Nasir. Like, share, subscribe, leave a comment in the comment section. Peace.
Enemy Public, I saw your thing on YouTube, man. Keep doing your thing, bro.